Welcome, class of 2021, to our virtual Common Application workshop. As you know, initially, we had planned to do this in person with you in our computer labs. So instead, we have pivoted and we have created an opportunity for you to be able to work at your own pace and work on your college application before school even begins. All right. So the goal of this presentation is to help give you support and information about how to fill out your Common Application. What is the Common Application? The Common Application is a one-stop shop for most colleges for you to apply to schools. Now, back in the day, maybe when your guardians and family applied to college, they would fill out a piece of paper, slap a check on it, and pop it in the mail, and they're done. But now we've made it, and society has made it so that a lot of what we do is electronic and seamless and helpful for you to be able to access your application and edit as you go. And so that's what the Common Application is. Before you do anything, you want to make sure that the colleges you're applying for accept the Common App. So for example, community colleges of Maine are not on the Common App. So if you're only applying to community colleges, you will not need to create a Common Application. So the best way to find that out is to go to your college's website and see if there is a way to apply through the Common App. All right, so what we want to do first is show you how to create an account. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go to commonapp.org. And you're going to see this screen right here, and you're going to go to this tab called Create an Account. And so it's very easy to create an account. You all are going to click First Year Student. And then from there, you'll put your own personal information in. You want to make sure that you put an email address in that you use and access often. And then you'll retype it, create a password, make sure you look at the formula for the best password. And you'll be putting in information that will go with your college application. The rest of our video is going to walk you through every step of the way of the Common Application. And we hope that you will find it helpful and a good resource to refer to as you go along. The most important message we have for you is that we are just a phone call and an email away. So if you need anything or you have questions, please let us know. We can't wait to see you in the fall. Okay, so one of the first things you want to do when you have created your account is to go to the My Colleges app. Now you'll see that there are 5 tabs here for you. Your dashboard, which has nothing in it yet until you add your colleges, your My Colleges, your Common App, which is the application that will go out to all colleges, and we will talk about that in the segments coming up, and College Search and Financial Aid Resources. So you want to go to the My Colleges app, and you will see here that there is an option to add colleges. So you go to College Search, and it's not a very convoluted search engine. So say you were interested in adding the University of Maine. If you type one word in that matches the college that you're looking for, it'll populate all the main colleges and you can add them to your list. So I'm interested in University of Maine, so I'm going to click this plus button and I've added it to my college list, and you'll see there's a check mark. I think I also want to apply to Maine Maritime Academy, so I'm going to add that college, and again, checklist. And I think I want to add the University of Southern Maine as well. Add that college, and it's added to my college search. And so now you'll go to My Colleges and you will see that all 3 of those colleges have been added: Maine Maritime, University of Maine, and University of Southern Maine. And that is how you add My Colleges. If you have any questions about the college section, please don't hesitate to reach out to us.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about filling out the profile. The personal information section is the section where you will provide your legal identifying information as well as basic demographic details. The Common App questions are asked in this section to track who is applying to colleges. You must make sure the information is accurate and matches your legal documents, such as a birth certificate, social security card, or your transcripts here. So you'll notice here that there are red stars next to certain things because those are required. Here we created one for Hermon Hawk. Notice that your middle name is not starred, but often students will fill that in. For the suffix, you will drop down and you can put junior, senior, maybe you're the second, third, whatever option fits you, that's where you'll put that. And you can put a preferred name, meaning a nickname. Down here, have you ever used any other names? So maybe you were adopted. That could be information that you'd put in there. Marriage change for your parents. And then you would put in your sex. This is required, but it's limited to only male and female. You do have the option and the opportunity to leave a comment here about your gender identity. Next is your birthday. So you put your birthday in there, hit continue. All right. The next part of profile is your address. You'll notice here that we included the Hermon High School address as our official address. This needs to be the primary place where you live and receive mail. You can include an alternate mailing address. Notice they give you a couple of examples, maybe boarding school or a different mailing address. If you live between two households, in the case of divorced parents, you may provide a second address where you are more likely to be, but you still want your primary address to be on file. Typically, students choose the address that we have on file here for school. Continue. Next is the information for your phone. For this section, please provide the phone number that you will most likely pick up if a college calls. Please put whatever phone you are most likely to pick up in your preferred phone number. Underneath, you will have the opportunity to put in an alternate phone number, and that could be a house phone. Next, you will be filling out demographics. Many questions in this section are optional. What the Common App questions are looking for here on behalf of the colleges is to capture the applicant pool's diversity in terms of race, religion, ethnicity, and military service. The information is self-reported and may come with favor for colleges looking to diversify their campuses. As such, you will need to certify that you've answered the questions to the best of your ability. Please take a moment to go through this section and make sure that you are carefully reading and responding to the questions that you'd like to. The next section that you will be filling out is geography. Please take a moment to notice that each section here has the red star next to it, meaning each of these sections is required. You'll notice that you can drop down and choose the best option for yourself. Please make sure that all of this information is accurate, and also know that the Common App asks questions about geography because it is believed that the geographic diversity improves a college's perceived selectivity, and it speaks to the reach the college has in the world. So you'll fill those out, hit continue. Next is language. The Common App asks you to report on the languages you have studied and learned and those you read, write, and speak proficiently. If you've taken a language throughout high school, this is the place to identify your proficiency. For colleges who value diversity, language is another strong component and indicator that you're a student with an expanded worldview and perspective. The next, place here is to choose what level citizenship you have in the United States. At the submission stage of your application, the Common App will prompt you to submit an application fee. The fee can range from $35 to $90 for each college's application. These fees can quickly add up if you have a long list of colleges. The good news is that most colleges offer a fee waiver option for those students who financially qualify. The big question here is, do you feel that your financial circumstances may qualify you for an application fee waiver? There is the option to hit Learn More that break down what these qualifiers could be. If you're still not sure, please contact your counselor and we will walk you through this process.
Hi everyone, we're going to go ahead and move along to the family section of the Common App. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the application for you. So you should be able to see that I'm in the family section of the Common App under the Common Application tab. I do want to point out that you may see on the right-hand side that there is a toolbar or taskbar for instructions and help, and they do have a student chat available, and there are other frequently asked questions that you can access. Before starting the family section, you may want to click on View Family Tutorial here, and you can watch a video that will give you further instructions on how to fill out this section. But for our purposes, I'm going to run through a couple of the things that might hold you up or may be tricky. So if you have parents with a marital status that are different from never married or married, it will ask for different options in what that relationship may look like or who you want to add to your common application. So for instance, if you put married, it'll ask about your permanent home and it lists all of the different options. So if they're married and you live with both parents, whether or not you have any children of your own. So that is not other children of your parents, like siblings. That is you yourself, if you have any children. You'll fill out the information for parent one. And it doesn't really matter whether you list your mother or your father first. You can do either. And it will really just walk you through. You will need to list your parents' occupation. And in here, you can start typing different professions. So like I started to type psychologist and clinical psychologist came up. If the occupation that you're looking for is not listed, you can select other, and then you can just add a different type of career. So say they're a school psychologist instead. And then their education level. So a lot of students have to ask their parents these questions as you go. So when you fill out the family portion, you may want to have your parent present just so you can get that information as you go. So we'll say graduate school. And then they're even going to ask how many institutions they attended, and then they're going to want to know what college your parent went to if they did receive a college degree. So you will go through the college lookup. So it will be really important to be able to ask them questions. I just want to scroll back up quickly, back to household. Because if you have parents that are separated or divorced, it will ask you a couple of different questions. And you'll notice that many of the questions have this red asterisk right here. That means that the question is required to be filled out. So if your parents are divorced, you'll fill in a year of divorce and then who you live with, whether it's both parents still, even though they're divorced, or you live with parent one or two. So this is where if you fill out dad as parent one, you'll and you'll want to make sure that you're living with dad if you list here. I hope that makes sense. So if you're listing parent 1 here and you actually live with dad, make sure that when you come down here to parent 1, that you select that you're living with your father. Parent 1 is your father. And we can certainly answer questions about that when we have the help session. And so you'll go through and you'll still list those things. And then you'll have parent 2. And so if you have separated, divorced, or never married, for parent 2, you may list that you do not have another parent to list, that you have limited information on this parent. And so if you do not have another parent to list, you would not have to fill in the rest. And you'll notice that the parent type is the only required question for parent 2. You only have to list a parent here if they're still living, your parents are together. And it does also give an option to list a step parent. And I believe that's under the household once the divorced. So do you wish to list step parents? If you select yes, how many? So if mom's remarried and dad's remarried, you can list up to 2. And see, it added the step parents on the bottom. So I did want to show you that in case your parents are divorced and then remarried and you have step parents that you want to include. A reason that this might be important is because when you get to the part where it asks about college, colleges are interested to know if someone you know has attended their institution. So if you put graduated from college or university, it's going to be the same thing. They're going to want to know where that step parent went to school because it's considered a legacy if you attend the same school as a family member. And sometimes there are different scholarships and opportunities available for different generations that attend the same school. So let me minimize this. Once you've filled out parent 1 and parent 2, you'll see that a sibling tab is here. So you'll indicate the number of siblings you have, whether that's 1 or 2. I'll select 1 for now. And so you will list your siblings' information, whether it's a brother or sister, and then you'll also select their education level. So grade school or primary school, that will be the end of the information you have to put. Same with high school. But if you have a sibling that has gone to college, just like the parents, it's going to ask where they attended and what their approximate start date and end date or graduation date is. And that's for the same reason as the parents. They're interested to know where the other people in your family have attended. And that also helps them with their tracking information. The schools are often interested how students come to find out about their institution. So this just gives them good information on that. And so once you have filled out the different categories, I'm going to go ahead and change this back. No step parents, just to minimize that screen a little bit. Once you're done with the siblings part, it will ask you to continue on the bottom. Once you continue, it will take you to the next section, which is the education section. Okay, so we will now be moving to the education section. And I'm going to go ahead and let you see my screen again. Okay, so in the education section, just like the family section, you will have help and instructions on the right side of your screen. And this is for frequently asked questions. So that's a resource if you need it. There's also a view education tutorial at the top of your screen. So you can select to drop that down. And we recommend viewing that before starting. Once you've viewed that, you will find your school. And because you've already listed a home address, you'll see that Hermon High School should be towards the top. And so you can add that, and it's going to pre-populate some of that information for you. Your date of entry will be August 2017. Unless you transferred to Hermon High School from another school, then your date of entry would be a date whenever you transferred and started at Hermon. We are not a boarding school. You will graduate, and your graduation date will be June of 2021. And there's no change in progression. Continue, and that will take you to the next section. So if you transferred to Hermon High School from another school, that is where you'll select multiple high schools. If you've been at Hermon High School for your whole high school career, then you'll just keep it at 0. But if you have transferred to us from another school, you will find that secondary high school, and then again, you'll put in the date, and then your start date, and then your end date. And then you can give a little bit of detail, which is required, about why you left one school and then came to Hermon. Or it's an opportunity to give a reason for moving to multiple schools. So if your parents moved or relocated because of jobs, you'd want to indicate that. You would also, if you started with a virtual academy like Maine Connections, or Maine Virtual Academy, you would list those as an alternative high school that you went to, and then you would put some details about why you left there to come to Hermon. But we're going to say that we've been here all 4 years, and then we can move on to the next. One of the great things about Common App, and it may have been mentioned in different sections, is that when you hit the continue button or you go on to the next tab, it does automatically save what you've filled in. And then there used to be a save option. So now it's just once you continue on to the next section, it will save everything that you've been putting in. So for colleges and universities, this is going to be the opportunity for students to list any college classes that they have taken while still in high school. And so you're going to want to indicate the number of colleges. If you have only taken courses through UMA, you would list just one school. If you have taken the USM statistics class, the English through UMA, and then courses through Husson, you're going to put 3. Unfortunately, it will only allow you to list up to 3 schools. So in the event that you've also taken a course through UMaine and you don't have an option to select 4 colleges, I would select the 3 colleges that you've taken either the most courses with or the most important courses with. So like English 101 would be really important. The statistics or calculus, those would also be important. And psychology, any of those general classes for the beginning, going into your freshman year, would be really important to list. And the colleges, if you forward them your college transcripts, they're going to see all of the courses that you've taken eventually. This is just your way to show the colleges that you went above and beyond the high school curriculum to be able to take classes at the college level too. And so English 101 would be a dual enrollment with high school, meaning that you're taking the class at the high school and you're enrolled at both the college level and the high school level for potentially credit at both. So like English 101, our college history, our college chemistry, so a lot of our bridge courses, that would be a dual enrollment with high school. And then you would just list August of the beginning of the year that you started the course to June of when the course ended. If you took UMA courses both years, you would cover the 2-year span. And you would not list degree earned unless you are one of the Bridge Academy students or UTC students that has been working towards a certificate or an associate's degree through the UTC EMCC partnership. The second option here is if you took courses through one of the summer programs, the free courses at UMaine or Husson, you could select that. Or you could also select credit awarded directly by college. So that would be like taking an ECAP course through Husson. It's not something that they teach here in our building. It's something that you would take online. Also, if you were to take psychology through the UMaine system or EMCC, those are all independent courses that you're taking early through the college. So the credit is awarded directly by the college. And so you would fill it out for each school. And I guess I should show you. So you'll click on Find College. And so the University of Maine colleges come up. And I should add that if you're looking for the University of Southern Maine, you will have to put Southern Maine. It doesn't pop up with the other University of Maine system schools. So you'll see it right there. But you should be able to find Husson. Just right there. Eastern Maine Community College. So in the event you've taken a course that's not local and you didn't see the name of the college listed, you would select that option. Oops, let me just select Husson here. And I'm going to select that we had one school. And so this section, you're really going to rely heavily on the Common App information sheet that we sent out. So graduating class size will be 118. Your class rank reporting is exact. Your class rank. We have unweighted rank. GPA scale. So you can either choose to report your GPA on a 4.0 scale or the 100-point scale. So if you have, we did send out the GPA scale for you all to see how it's converted from a 100-point scale to the 4.0 scale. If your GPA is above a 93, I would report on the 4.0 scale because it's going to be reported as a 4.0. And so that's the highest GPA on the 4-point scale. If you have a 92 GPA, instead of listing a 3.7, I might list the 92 so that they can see that you're like right at the cusp of technically having a 4.0. So you can use that reporting to your benefit. And I, as a counselor, that's how I will report it, is whatever is in the benefit of the student, to give the most accurate information. So let's say 4.0, but I am going to put in a 2.8. And this, whoops, this is also unweighted. In the next section, they're going to want all of the courses that you will be taking this year as a senior. So you'll be using your senior schedule. You can log into PowerSchool to view your most current schedule. And it may be possible that you want to hold off on this section until we get back to school because you're planning some schedule changes. That's okay. The important thing is if you leave any of these required questions blank, it's going to require you to fill them in before you can submit your application. So I don't want to answer about my current or most recent courses yet because I'm not sure what that's going to look like. So do you wish to report any honors related to the academic achievements beginning with 9th grade? So you would say yes. This is a great place. Academic honors would include honor roll. I would say National Honor Society, because the selection process for that is heavily dependent upon what your GPA is, so what your grades are. If you've received any awards at the end of the year assembly, say you received the chemistry award from Miss Merrill, I would list that. Anything that has to do with your academics, that will be listed in this section. And then also like the level of recognition. So if you're on the honor roll, it would be school. I would say National Honor Society would be a national recognition because that is a national society. And you can list up to 5. Try your hardest to be able to list 5. If you don't have 5, that's fine. Just list as many as you can think of. Community-based organizations. These are very specific. And this would be if you are receiving aid or assistance from a community organization. So as you can see, it's predetermined. Like if you have been part of the Boy or Girl Scouts of America, that would be one you would list here. Boys and Girls Clubs. A lot of these organizations are not available around here. We did used to have a college-bound program. So you can look through that list and determine whether you've been involved in any of these organizations, and then you would list it here. It will ask for contact information for an advisor as well. Under future plans, this is where the college wants to know what your career interest will be. So if you plan on being a doctor, they're going to look for a physician. So if you list physician, the highest degree you intend to earn is going to be a medical degree. If you want to be a lawyer, if you know that you want to be in business, but you know you're going to pursue that master's level, you can select the MBA. If you know you want to be a clinical psychologist, you're going to need to have some master's background to work in that field, or even a school counselor. So you know that for that career field, you're going to at least need a minimum of a master's degree. You would select that here. If you know that you want to be a teacher, you're going to select bachelor's degree. Same potentially with nursing, bachelor's degree. It doesn't mean that you won't necessarily pursue a master's later on. But if you are not sure, unsure, or that's not in your plan now, just select the highest level that you plan on pursuing at this moment.
Okay, so now that you have gotten this far in your Common App, you've hit the testing portion. As you know, the class of 2021 was not able to take the school day SAT. Since then, we've communicated with you folks through our junior information virtual night, as well as through email, about how to register for the SAT. One of the things that you want to do is to make sure that the colleges that you're applying to require the SAT. Many colleges are going test optional this year. Most programs are, but there are some programs who will need that SAT score. For example, engineering, nursing, physical therapy, etc. So our recommendation is that you go to the colleges that you're interested in on their website, to their admissions page. There will most likely be a statement about whether they're test optional, and if they're not, we can help you contact the admissions folks directly. Okay, so now for the testing section. So here you see the testing screen, and the first question talks about sending official score reports as required by colleges. So it's important that you know that if you're applying to a college, you have to send your official score reports if they require it. For example, any AP course, SAT, SAT subject, ACT, etc. And so you'll want to make sure that you do that. But they give you the option to self-report your scores here. And so if you want to self-report your scores, you can click either yes or no. If you click no, you literally have only 2 questions to answer. No to whether you want to report scores, and no if you're an international applicant, or yes if you are. And then you click continue, and that's it. However, if you do want to report your scores, you click yes. And then they give you several options about what scores you want to report. So this field right here, you can put in more than 1 test score to report. So I'm going to click on here for options. All of you will be SAT March 2016 or after. And so you'll see that populated. And then maybe you want to report an AP subject test. Maybe you took AP Lang or Lit and took that test at the end of the school year. So you pop that in, and then it populates. And so you hit continue, and you will see that the field populated the SAT reporting and then the AP subject test reporting. And then at that point, you follow the fields to move along. How many AP tests do you want to report out? And I may have taken AP History and AP Lang, so I'm going to report 2. And then you put in the date that you took the test, the subject, and then your score. And then you hit continue. What's really good about all of the sections is that when you've completed a part in the section, you will see that there's a green check mark that populates here saying the section is complete. But then if you didn't complete it, you'll see that it's blank. And so that is the testing section of the Common App.
Okay, now it's time to fill out the activities section. Once again, you'll have an activities tutorial, so feel free to access that video and get a little preview of what you'll be filling out. Do that before you start filling out some of the information. So it asks you if you have any activities that you wish to report. The answer is always yes. Look at this list. Arts or music, clubs, community engagement, family responsibilities, hobbies, sports, work or volunteering, any other experiences that have been meaningful to you. So you absolutely, without a doubt, need to be pressing yes for this. And if you've done your community service hours, anything that you've been involved in at the school, anything within the community, you can list here. And I guarantee that you'll all have multiple activities. And so you can list up to 10 activities. Try your very hardest to reach 10. Okay, so this is where your athletics are going to go. Hobbies, anything like that. So activity type, you'll choose from the drop down. So if you like to specialize in a certain type of art, you could put that, even if it's with your art classes. If that is a hobby for you, you could add all of that here. So for athletics, there are 2 different categories. So if you play in like the Bangor Soccer Club, or you play for Black Bear basketball, those would be club sports. So you would select that, and then you would select the type of team that it is. I'll just select badminton. And then position or leadership description. So if I'm the center for the badminton team, then that's what I would list here, and the organization that you played for. And then if you've received any recognitions or any accomplishments that you've had during that activity, you'll list as well. And then whatever grade levels. If you have participated all the way up through your junior year and you know that you will still be involved in the organization, During your senior year, you will also pick grade 12. And there's no reason that for some of this stuff you couldn't select postgraduate. So any of your community service, club sports, select postgraduate because they want to see that you will be willing to be involved in activities at the collegiate level. And so does that mean that you're going to play like Division I badminton for a college? No, but they do have club sports at a lot of schools and intramural sports. So you can join up with other students in your dorm, other students that you were friends with in high school, and you can create a team and be involved on campus. So some of the other activities, career-oriented. So I would classify some of the activities that you do through UTC could even be here. Because that would be like an academic type of thing that's really focused on career. And so activities, like if you're in Jobs for Maine graduates class and there are activities that you do after school hours, that would be career oriented. They do like the reverse job fair. So you could put that as an activity because you have to work on it outside of school. And then it's something above and beyond the typical classroom day. So community service, computer technology, dance, cultural types of things. And so there should pretty much be a category for anything. Junior ROTC is on here. So even though you may list this under education because that's one of the classes that you'll be taking or you have taken in the past, you can select that. So position or leadership description. So if you have held any type of ranking position within the JROTC organization here at Hermon High School, you would put that. And then again, if you know you're going to be doing it all 4 years, if it's something you're interested in for after high school, you would indicate that. One thing that people get caught up on is timing of participation. So if you are in a soccer club and it's only during school breaks, that's what you'll select. Or if you play a sport year round, or you're in your Boy Scout troop and you have activities all year, you'll select all year. And then it asks hours spent per week and weeks spent per year. So if you have one meeting a month, so for like your Boy Scout troop, and your meeting lasts 2 hours, you would kind of average that out. Make your best guess. They're not really putting, like, they're not going to check your resources or check your sources to see how accurate. Just make your best guess. And you'll put something there. Like if you're playing soccer here at the high school, it's roughly like 8 to 10 weeks that you play, and then you might practice. With practice and games, you might do 2 hours per day, 6 days a week, because you have Saturday practice. So you'll have to do some math there. And you can certainly feel free to ask us about that, and we can kind of help you work out the math for that. And then whether you intend to participate in a similar activity in college. Which actually, so I take that back. This would be if you participated, if you know you're going to play like the summer before college, that would be postgraduate. But this is whether you want to attend in college. I'm sorry that was a little bit confusing. So yes, you want to participate in college. And then you can add another activity. And you can see some of the required questions I'm not filling in, but I can still go ahead. So one recommendation may be to create all of your activities and then go back and fill in that information at a different time. And so add as many as possible. This is where you can really promote yourself as being an active member of a community, whether it's a school community, whether it's actually the community that you live in, or potentially a college community. The great thing about the Common App is that it really does walk you through the different sections.
The next section that I'm going to be talking to you about is writing. Some colleges require submission of a personal essay with your Common App. You may submit a personal essay to any college, even if it is not required by that college. If not required by a college, you will be given the option during submission to include your essay or not for that college. For the purpose of this training, we included Husson University and the University of Maine in our dashboard to show you that each college is a little different in what they require. Husson University does require the essay where University of Maine does not. If you scroll down, you will see that there are multiple options and prompts that you could write about. Take a minute to look through these. Remember, 650 words is your limit, not your goal. Use the full range if you need it, but don't feel obligated to. I do want to point out that the last essay prompt example is an essay of your topic or choice. It can be one you've already written, maybe something that you've submitted in an English course, and does not respond to one of the previous prompts. Another thing to think about is if you feel a little lost or not sure what to write about, use these prompts as an example to help drive what you would like to discuss in the essay of your choice, if that is the route that you'd like to take. Down here, you will notice that you are prompted to copy and paste your essay into this box. I advise that you write your essay in a Google or Word doc first, then copy and paste it into this section. That makes it a lot easier for yourself for editing purposes.
Under courses and grades, you're going to see this under your Common Application. You do not need to add anything here. It's asking you to enter information for all of the courses that you have taken during high school. And so these are the specific colleges that require courses and grades to be self-reported by a student. So if you're not going to apply and add one of these schools to your Common Application, then you will not be required to fill out that section. Luckily, the Common App has changed in a way that students used to be able to fill it out even if they had 0 colleges that required it, and it took an insane amount of time to complete because you were basically transferring your transcript onto the Common App, and now it actually blocks you unless you've added one of those colleges that's on the list. So if you're curious what colleges are going to require that information, you can click on this link, and then you can look at the list and see if those are the colleges that you're interested in. It's a very short list considering how many colleges accept the Common App. And the reason they don't need it is because when we upload your transcript for you, all of the courses and your grades for those courses are going to be required on your transcript. So no need to do anything with this section unless specifically your college requires that. Okay, now that we've filled out most of the Common Application, we're going to go back and really focus on the colleges that we've selected. And so when you log into your Common App account, you're going to log into your dashboard, and it's going to list all of the courses or all of the colleges that you've selected. And you can show more details so you can see that everything's in progress, and that there's a writing requirement for Husson, and they do not require a writing supplement. Same with UMaine, you can look at their requirements. Their essay is optional. though we always recommend that you submit something. So you can access your colleges here, and it will take you to My Colleges, or you can simply select My Colleges and your colleges will be listed on the left-hand side. And so this section is where you're really going to focus on things that are unique to each of the schools. What I want to focus on is the college-specific questions, as well as adding recommenders to each school. So the first thing I'm going to focus on is college-specific questions. So if you hit Husson University, you're going to get a drop down with some different options. All of the colleges look at the standard common application questions and answers, but then they may want some supplemental information for you that's specific to their school. So under Husson University, for application, there's questions. And when you click on that, you'll see that they have several subsections for you to include some additional information. So student status, whether you want to be part-time or full-time at their institution, your preferred start term, which for now you're applying fall 2021, preferred admission plan. Husson doesn't have an early admission, so it would be rolling admission, and preferred residence during your first year. So you're going to notice that the different colleges have similar questions because your answer may be different for the different schools. So they need to know specifically, do you plan on living on their campus? And so a lot of our students decide they want to commute to Husson or UMaine. If there's any chance that you might want to live on campus, I would always select on campus so that you can get all of the information as far as like financial aid, room and board, and get that information to make the best decision, and that you have a guaranteed space on campus. If you put off campus and submit your application in that way, they may not have a room available for you if you decide that you do want to live on campus. However, if you say you want to live on campus, they'll reserve the room for you, and then you can always decide not to take that. I hope that makes sense, and that's certainly something that you can ask us about during the office hours Common App session. So I'm going to say on campus. Husson is not requiring submission of SAT scores, but you can submit them if you choose to. So you can choose whether you're going to or not. I'm going to say no because I'm not going to be applying for nursing or any of their healthcare medical type degrees. Do you intend to use a school-specific fee waiver? So if you say, yes, I've received a fee waiver code from Husson University, you would provide that here. And do you intend to pursue need-based financial aid? So if you're going to fill out the FAFSA, you should select yes. And so they want to know what type of degree you're going to pursue. If there are any sports at Husson that interest you. They're going to look for contacts. So you'll want to filter through these school-specific questions. And if you have questions, you can always ask your counselor. Specifically on the writing part, you're going to have to agree doing business electronically. You're acknowledging that. So the second part, this, in addition to the school-specific questions, well, let's just preview UMaine's quickly. So they have some of the same categories as Husson. But when it comes time to add recommenders, you will have to do for one time, you'll have to do the FERPA release authorization. We did send a form home in junior folders that helped describe what the FERPA release, and you can click on this link to learn more information. But before you invite a counselor, teacher, community member, advisor, or anyone else to submit a letter of recommendation for you, you have to complete a release of authorization. And so you'll have to read through this information. Many students are not sure how to respond to this. So you, once you've read this, you confirm. And so acknowledge that every school that you've attended may release all requested records. So that means you're acknowledging that we're going to submit your transcript for you on the Common App. And then you have the choice to select whether you waive your rights to review recommendations and supporting documents, or you do not waive your rights. So when you waive your rights, that means that the recommendations and documentation that has been submitted to the college has been submitted without your review. And when you do that, that means that the recommender was able to write like the most truthful version of a letter of recommendation without fear of making you upset. Anyone you ask for a recommendation is going to, hopefully, you've chosen a person that's going to write you the very best recommendation. So the colleges just see that as you trust these people to give honest feedback and the very best feedback. If you do not waive your rights, that just means that you are letting the colleges know that you may have requested to review the recommendations and supporting documents before they were submitted to the college, which isn't a bad thing either. So based on all of the information that you read, make the decision that is best for you. If you still have questions, please don't hesitate to email your counselor or bring them to that open office hour, because I'm sure other students will still have questions about this. And so I'm going to waive my rights for that. And this pertains to the colleges to which you apply. So until you've submitted an application, nobody's going to have access to this information. Whoops, you have to sign the bottom. So once you have submitted the release authorization, that is good for any of the colleges you have listed under My College. So whether I had done that under Husson or I had done that under UMaine, it's good for the other schools. Where you have to do school-specific things under the FERPA and recommenders is when you're actually adding recommenders that are not your counselor. So you will now invite recommenders. The first thing I would do is invite your counselor. So you're going to enter their email address. So I'm going to do Mrs. Smith. And this information is on the Common App information sheet that we sent to you. Okay, and so the counselor will show up for both schools because they require that a counselor be added in order for the transcript and the school information to be filled out. So as you can see, Mrs. Smith is listed under Husson, and then she was also listed under the University of Maine. As you can see, you cannot submit your application if it's not complete. So it will tell you where you have incomplete information, and it will take you to those sections before you can complete it. So you can't accidentally submit it without having filled in all of the information. Okay, so the next section that that we'll want to complete is adding the other recommendations. So for each individual school, it's going to tell you how many teacher recommendations are required, how many are optional that are allowable, and then other recommenders, which would be like coach, employer, or other. And so this might be a club advisor, even though there's an advisor section down here that isn't really pertaining to like a club advisor. That would go under other recommender. So you have to first invite a teacher. So I'm going to invite Miss Barry. And she teaches social studies. And then it asks, would you like this teacher to complete an evaluation for your Husson University application? Well, since we're adding her and inviting her through Husson, the answer is probably yes. So go ahead and invite. And then you'll see that she's listed as one of the teachers. And you'll be able to see when she accesses her recommender account and when she uploads and submits, you'll be able to see that here under your specific college. Now, where it's a little bit tricky is even though you've invited her and you may have every intention of her completing a recommendation for both, she's not automatically added to all of your colleges. So then you have to individually go into each college. And now that you've invited her, you can just simply add her to all of the other colleges. And so there may be some schools. So UMaine has two optional teachers, and then also two optional other recommenders, where Husson only had one other. If you want to submit 3 letters of recommendation, which is pretty standard, anywhere from 2 to 3, even 1 is fine, but having a few different letters is good to include with your application. So if you have 3 teachers that you really want to write letters for you, and your schools are only allowing 2 optional, you could probably stretch the other recommender. So like here it lists arts teacher versus like a core content teacher. So you could probably find something that they've advised you in. You don't necessarily have to list straight out what they were, but you can make sure that you can get 3 letters by using the other recommenders to your advantage. So I want to show you how now on the UMaine application, we can add Ms. Berry. And so it's as simple as selecting her name and assigning her to the application. Now, if you only want her letter to go to Husson, but you have 2 letters that you want to go to UMaine, you could invite another teacher here and add it to the UMaine application. You can also invite your other recommender, choose relationship, and you can say other. So when all else fails, just select other and then add a person for that recommendation. And then you will be able to attach them. I hope that's clear. This section was a little bit convoluted because we had some loading issues with the page, but you can certainly use the instructions and help and use different tutorials to help kind of work through and manage recommenders. So on the manage recommenders piece, you're going to see everyone that you've listed. And so if for some reason, like Ms. Berry doesn't receive the recommendation request form through her email, you can resend that invitation to her because it just may have got like lost in the shuffle of things. If you decide that you've added Ms. Berry, but she's not as responsive and you want to choose someone else, you can also delete that request. And like I said, you'll be able to see the progress of your recommenders on your college section. And then also continue to view the progress in your dashboard. And I do want to point out a relatively new feature, the applications requirements. So if you want to look at all of the colleges that you're going to be applying to and see like what the deadlines are, rolling admission, what the application fees are, you can view that all in a spreadsheet, and you can even download the requirements grid, which can be used to kind of keep track of what you still need to do, and what you've already done. So you can kind of use this as a tracking system, so that you know when you're not logged into the Common App where you stand on everything, especially if you have multiple application fees, kind of planning and like financially planning for how you're going to pay for those. So you have like early decision 2, early action. So for like UMaine, their early action is by December 1st. So if you want to set that as a deadline, they usually try to get decisions out by the new year, as long as students have submitted their application by the early action deadline. And then they give the rolling admission deadlines for both schools. So completing the Common App, a lot of it's just going to be following the steps. It does seem like a lot of information up front, but the fact that you're plugging away at it now before the beginning of the school year is really going to help you that when you come back to school, get the last few answers that you need to complete your application, and you're going to feel very relieved coming back to school in a few weeks, having done this during some of your summertime. So I really commend you on taking those steps to get a head start on your Common application. And again, the information for our office hours will be sent out soon. And if you need to schedule an individual session with your counselor to answer some personal questions, or you just have a lot of questions, so you're not sure the open forum is going to be the best, then you can certainly schedule that with us individually or send email questions and we'll gladly answer them.
Okay, now that you've gotten to the end of your Common App, we want to encourage you to join us for our office hours on August 17th and August 18th. And we are going to be sending out links to those office hours, and we will literally be sitting on a video chat waiting for folks to come in to ask questions. If you have a more personal question that you need to have privacy for, you can reach out to us individually. But we're just going to be literally sitting in a video office for you to just come on and ask us questions about the Common App or anything specific. So we're going to be sending link out to you guys for the 17th and the 18th from 12 to 2 for you to ask any questions that you might need.